Number figured out, a motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Simple, dear, I'll still be here when you're gone. You gather souvenirs, but I will never be your pawn, your pawn, your pawn. My love was in ever again. I lay with
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. It is Friday Junior. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, Mayhem Hippie, John Lithium, Michael Hasser, Tropical Ding Dong, Moanep, welcome. A streamer is never late or never early, but always appears at the right time. Like Wizard. Sir, are you comparing yourself to Gandalf? Kind of. I've got a little Gandalf in the back. You can kind of see him. I got a golem. Nice. Yeah, like wizards. Where's Timu Sam Cedar? I need my Timu Sam Cedar reacts to the Majority Report happy hour. Yep, we do got one. We do got one video. I'll be in and out. Almost beat Spyro. Nice. Nice. All right, folks. We gotta get started because the same deal as yesterday. I gotta get out of here pretty on time or pretty quickly. Let's get started, folks. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of your support. You guys are what makes this channel go. Thank you all for being here. If you want to support the channel, there are many different ways of doing so. Make sure you do all the things on the YouTube side, on the Twitch side as well. If you want to support the channel directly, you can check out the merch store. Hit the exclamation mark tip. Join the Substack, the Discord. This Saturday, there is a movie event hosted by our very own mod. Check out my show on this space Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Once again, thank you all for being here. Let's get started. With all the bad, you got to feed the inner child. Oh, I agree. I agree. It's part of the reason. One of the things that I decided to go for is a handheld PC. The old ROG Ally, old technology-wise. It's a couple years old. And it really is pretty decent, I would say. I got it secondhand, and I mean, it does the trick. I also got a cheap controller for the phone that you can kind of plug your phone in and play with your phone. So there's that. That's how I keep gaming alive. And of course my laptop, but I don't game as often on my PC as I would like, honestly. I got to redo this whole setup here. I've got an idea. I kind of like how I've been rearranging some stuff. Just, with what I got, but I've got some concerns with my laptop, shutting off my camera ever so often. I don't know if it's the laptop, I don't know if it's the camera. I've tried just about everything, but whatever. And I also want to integrate my little handheld to be able to kind of sit here as well and use the screen. Although this is not a very good screen either. It's just a cheap screen, but it is what it is. I'm a huge fan of the Steam Deck Balatro. The Steam Deck was on my consideration too. The store that I went to has a bunch of retro games and just kind of buy, sell, trade kind of deal. And they had a secondhand Steam Deck. I think it was... I'm not sure if it was the OLED version or not. But that was one of the considerations I had. It just ended up being the case that the Ally was cheaper at the time. My only one complaint is storage space. I probably will have to invest in getting a bigger storage for it, but other than that, I think it's been pretty decent. I like the Switch, but all the subs are expensive. Yeah, I couldn't do the Switch too. There's no way. There's no way. Nintendo is acting a fool. Nintendo's decided to be too greedy. I got adult dollars, but not like that. No, me neither. It took months for me to get to be able to do that. So yeah.
What?
You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do. Work with what you got. For the price of one $60 Switch game, I can literally get like 20 Steam games during a sale. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Incidentally, also, I could play the Steam games on the ROG Ally and on this laptop, which is incidentally also another ROG. I'm a big Asus fan. They're absolutely being absolute ghouls lately. Yep. Welcome, ground level news. No work today, so Lurk Mode is deactivated. Nice. Nintendo also got in trouble lately because they lied about Mario Kart. Oof. Mario Kart updates. Yikes. John Lithium, welcome. Yeah, I do agree that, and also just the anti-consumer behavior from Nintendo, just not cool, not very cool. I mean, Steam and Good Old Games, GOG, whatever you want to call it, have been the go-to recently, not just because of prices, because in this economy, gaming in this economy, oof. But yeah, Steam and GOG. The thing I like about GOG is that you can actually keep the files. You own the files essentially. You can copy them an unlimited amount of times. So you will always have that game that you paid for. That is yours, so to speak, the digital version of it. And you can copy it as many times as you want. You can give a copy to somebody as many times as you want, and it's always there. It's yours. It's literally yours. Especially if the game is just like a game that doesn't require, or a game that doesn't play multiplayer or anything like that. Like, I don't know, Fallout 3. You will never need an internet connection for Fallout 3. That game is yours. Steam sales are clutch. Buying games is hard on Xbox, especially if the hubby and I both play. Red Dead Redemption 2 is downright brutal for the house. Oof. Yeah, especially that Xbox only allows you to have one active account, essentially, because if you try to like log in to another Xbox in another room, it's not gonna like that. It's gonna kick you out. Owns books instead. That's perfectly fine. I've got my my fair share of backlog of books too. I've got books for days.
What do you do if you're Charlie Kirk and the wealthy scion of the Swanson family food empire, this Swanson frozen dinner empire, has invited you to come do a podcast with him? This is a guy, Tucker Carlson, who has been to multiple prep schools. Like, he got kicked out of one in Switzerland, and so he ended up going to one in Newport, Rhode Island. Then he dated the dean's daughter, and that helped him get into Trinity College. And then his parents were in the, what was it called? Something like the Silver Club, where you had, if you donated over like $5,000 to the college, which incidentally, $5,000 when Tucker Carlson went to college was probably somewhere between 30 and 50% of your tuition. So they paid almost like a tuition and a half when Tucker Carlson is there. So he's a real man of the people, as you know. And, spending his time in the salt mines of Fox News.
Yeah, clearly. Tucker. When I think man of the people, I think Tucker Carlson for sure.
Years, he invites Charlie Kirk onto a show, and of course, Kirk knows that Tucker now has an anti-corporate populist message. And how does Kirk get sort of finagle that when he knows like all of his backers?
Yeah, which by the way is nonsense, right? Like the idea that Tucker Carlson is some kind of populist working class hero that is anti-corporate is wild. That's not a thing. Okay, that's not a thing. Tucker Carlson is anything but.
Are corporate billionaires? Well, he's got a twist.
The
entire economy has become hyper-feminized. The education system has become hyper-feminized.
The economy has become hyper-feminized. What does that mean? This is news to me. I was not aware that the economy can become feminized. I'm confused. I have no idea what that means. This is not logical. I don't know what that statement is supposed to mean. But if I were to try to apply some logic, I would try to assume that what he means is that there's more women are participating in the workforce, I guess. Walking stick library, welcome. I translated as the women are eating your lunch. Yeah, it sounds like that's what's happening here.
What are the jobs that have had the greatest emphasis of the credentialing, which basically is what college is. It's just a massive credentialing exercise. They're not the more masculine jobs that we need, which is like industrial engineering. They're HR managers. They're norm enforcers. A young man doesn't want to go be an HR manager. They would rather go to a WNBA game than be an HR manager. The push, the thrust to the last decade has been, the growth has been in what we call pink collar jobs that men would rather sit at home and
pink collar jobs. Well, this is news to me.
and kind of just be, slovenly than be caught doing, because it's just
Right.
so demeaning to how we as men are wired. They're not about creation or risk taking or value proposition or boundary pushing.
But why is that only limited to men? You like Charlie Kirk is basically saying that women don't have the ability to do these kind of things, to be creative, to take risks, to assign value to things, to push boundaries. Like women have he's basically saying that women have absolutely no capability of doing any of this, when actually some of the biggest advancements, some of the biggest boundary pushing was done by women. I mean, who did the calculations to take us to the moon? It was women. Has a pink polo, fight him. I actually kind of like the color pink in accents. My favorite color is blue, but I do have some, well, it's not here, but some pink accents around. Like my keyboard, my keyboard on the other side has pink keys. I can rock that. Ladybug, welcome. I have a couple of values. 38, 44, 9 mil, and 12 gauge.
Kind of about, well, here are the rules and the norms, and we must enforce them. By the way, there is a rule.
They're mom jobs.
Exactly. And you know why they're mom jobs? Because these women aren't moms.
Oh, it's the women.
These women play mom.
Can you
at
pause it? I'm sorry. So this is just an amazing thing to see here, because this is actually like how conservatives operate, right? The reason that we have more service-oriented jobs or more white-collar office jobs is in part because of the deindustrialization of our economy, and because these free trade deals shipped our manufacturing overseas to enrich corporations, which Charlie's donors were all about, which the conservative movement was all about and was instrumental in orchestrating. But instead of making a systemic critique, Charlie was on Fox News this weekend, singling out, it was Blackstone, I think, for them buying up all the housing in this country. It's never going to be, or he says BlackRock because that's a Democratic aligned firm, even though it is Blackstone and he was community noted. It's never a systemic critique. It's always the people that we have problems with. And here he is blaming women for NAFTA, basically, and for trade deals that outsourced our good jobs. And also, it's also the conservative movement that waged war on unions, which ensured that some of these jobs would be long lasting and people could have careers in these fields. It's the conservative movement, and he was blaming women.
Yeah, also it was incredibly that rant, that delusional rant was incredibly misogynistic. Wild. Green is my favorite, and now I understand it's because I will turn into a bog witch.
2 more points. First of all, he says BlackRock because we know from Lauren Windsor's reporting that there has been a concerted effort by the petroleum industry to go after BlackRock and to go after Bank of America, and I'm no friends of either. But when they say BlackRock as opposed to capitalism, when they say BlackRock or Bank of America as opposed to the financialization of our economy, they are doing so because they are literally paid by the petroleum industry, by the fossil fuel industry, to go after any investments in ESG, or essentially investment portfolios that attempt to wean us off of fossil fuels.
Right.
So that's why he does that. And then the other one is like, well, again, how can I obscure the fact that we have a systemic problem with capitalism? Too much ladies in the workforce. Too many ladies in the workforce.
We don't know the rules. They're wearing makeup, and it's meant to arouse me.
That's super on point for Jordan Peterson. And they want. I think actually he's pretty much said that almost verbatim. He's actually made like an argument against why women shouldn't wear makeup or something. Is that correct? Am I remembering this correctly? Pretty sure it was Jordan Peterson. And they wonder why women needed cocaine and Valium in the 50s as regular medicine. There's no amount of cocaine and Valium on the planet to be able to be a wife of Charlie Kirk. Like there must be there is not enough. There is not enough cocaine and Valium in the planet to be able to be a wife or partner to Charlie Kirk. Let me tell you.
They're just doing mom jobs. I mean, it's both like it's sort of like
Charlie
they're
Kirk's
doing
gonna
mom
kick your
jobs,
ass, dude.
They're doing mom jobs. And the idea that like that we have become too feminized as a society is just another way of saying we should not have let women out of the kitchen. Women have one function in society, and that is to pump out babies. Period. End of story. Their participation in these in the corporate world or in just jobs in general is ruining the country, is what they're saying.
I mean,
It's not like women, like we need to create jobs for women. Let's have HR.
that's
Are
why
you-
we've
you
had so many female presidents, is because society is so feminized.
True.
I mean, listen, society has become, the workforce has become more feminized in the sense that women now have the opportunity to work where they didn't have that opportunity decades ago.
Astro Calico, welcome. Jordan Peterson is a Muppet. Yeah, ADT is good. Welcome.
Women actually have the ability now to have their own credit card, whereas my mother in the early 70s was not allowed to. Women now have the right to say, I don't want to be married to this guy who's abusing me anymore. In fact, my husband no longer has the right to have sex with me when I say no. This is what they're bemoaning. And
Yep.
the idea that this is sort of like, and somehow this is the problem. Like what Joe Rogan of the left is going to exist where if the idea is we have to basically tell women, you've got to go back to where you were in, 1950 or for that matter, 19 teens. This is all, to be clear, Charlie Kirk has Rush Limbaugh's job on radio now. Like literally, I think he does the 12 to 3 slot. This is what Rush Limbaugh built his career on in with the Clintons and Hillary Clinton saying, I'm not going to stay in the kitchen. Coming out of the Reagan era, which was a pushback to the social emancipation of the 60s and the 70s, Rush Limbaugh emerges, comes up with feminazis. And now you don't even need to say feminazis. Now you just say women. You just say feminists. You just say like, somebody's wearing a pink tie. I got calls because Rush Limbaugh was mocking Dick Durbin on the Senate floor back in 2005 for wearing a pink.
I'm not a huge fan of the MR's very liberal viewpoints. Well, I mean, I think that they're definitely more left than your average liberal, and they're more willing to criticize liberal ideology, but yeah, like push this narrative just a bit more, dig a bit deeper instead of dissecting this. Why not push towards owning the means of production? Well, I mean, I think Sam's been asked about this, and I think that he's in favor of collectivizing the workforce in pretty much most industries. Like, he has no problems with, for example, worker co-ops, as an example. We have a Joe Rogan of the left, and their name is Hassan Piker. Nah, don't do Hassan like that.
pink tie. I remember getting a phone call from a conservative who's like, our enemies are laughing at us. Now, they had to jettison the whole pink tie thing because Donald Trump wears pink ties. But
Also
the
wears
rest
makeup
remains.
and tans and
Well,
lots of gender affirming care for him.
I get a lot of hair
and
work, too.
you just see how inherent in the argument is that, like, it's why there's this focus, an obsession with trans women as well, which is that this idea that maleness is supreme and dominant and desirable, and femininity is embarrassing, weak, and maybe a threat to our national security. And that is just misogyny. And it just is, we're at a point right now where it's like very open and expressed without much trepidation, even though I know this has been as old as Rush Limbaugh, but like this manosphere space on the internet, it's added younger people into a very reactionary anti-feminist moment.
And it's not a coincidence that you're looking at two basically fundamentalist religious guys having this conversation. They will whitewash it, they will launder it, and make it about corporate. But at the end of the day, what this is genders are not social conscious.
What this is about pushing what this is about is pushing fascist ideology, right? What this is pushing fascist ideology, right? There's no world in which Tucker Carlson and Charlie Kirk are for the working class at all. Well, that's the thing, Mayhem Hippie. They do interview union bosses. They do interview candidates who are running with grassroots elections. This is probably coming from the fun half. The only reason why I don't do any of that is because I do the news. The biggest weapon to fight fascism is education. Instead of wasting your time covering this, stop by educate instead. Oh, we do. That's the thing. We do both. We both can expose and dunk on fascists, and also go over very important stories. Does that make sense? Like, for example, this is probably this is probably from the fun half. If I had to take a guess. But the Majority Report does do cover, like they do actually do coverage in the first half of the show. Just to be clear, like they talk about, for example, they talk about the genocide in Gaza. They bring people on who are on the ground involved in Gaza. They have brought union leaders. They have brought political candidates on. I'm pretty sure they've even interviewed Ilhan Omar or Ayanna Pressley.
constructs in their mind, that there is something endemic about that is anti-men or anti-male to work in human resources or the service industry in some fashion. Men were meant to go out on the be pioneers and to
Go to the quad and debate college kids.
exactly.
Right.
But if they concede that gender is a social construct as opposed to being bestowed upon God, and all of these things like male dominance must exist.
Yeah, they had a doctor serving in Palestine this week. Yeah, they do a lot of great interviews, but none of that is in like the fun half. The fun half, they go over shenanigans like this.
Because it's otherwise you can't have God dominance. There's a hierarchy, and if you break any part of that hierarchy, God, man, well, it's really God, King, Donald Trump, a man, a woman,
who came from the rib of man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you mess with any part of that hierarchy, you are messing with the entire hierarchy. So you can't just say like, well, down here, well, what about if men and women are equal? No, then, we don't have God and rich people ahead of us on the hierarchy. We don't have the oligarch, which is the king, ahead of us. You cannot mess with any part of the hierarchy or it all falls apart. And that's why
right.
they have problems with trans people. That's why it's quite obvious if you're a guy and you buy into this patriarchy, well, of course, it's a problem if there's women. And there's also a racial aspect. Well, women and trans women are problematic.
Yeah.
And there's a racial aspect to it as well. We saw that in the context of like, how do we justify slavery? Well, I mean, God, has chosen us. We are the word of God, and we know that we are the higher being. Well, how do we justify taking indigenous people's land? An edict from the Pope that still remains and has been laundered into our federal law via the Supreme Court.
Or
Ruth
how
Bader
about-
Ginsburg mentioned it in 2005. I mean, all of these fundamentalist Christian, and in many cases fundamentalist religious, broadly speaking, principles get laundered into our society, and that's what Charlie Kirk's doing there.
The conspiracy theories about Michelle Obama are another way, I think, instructive way to look at how race and gender intersect in that way, because conservative men wanted to gatekeep femininity, because how do you control femininity? It is in relation to what a man deems desirable.
Right. I get you, Mayhem Hippie. It's okay. Everyone just chill. Welcome, Kirkenstein Monster.
And given like how open the society is at a given time, that can contract or can expand. And it's racialized in the sense that it's also when Black women are deemed like not feminine enough or too masculine, it also justifies further dehumanizing them in the same way that they do it with trans people.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe.
Yep. Because ultimately it's about misogyny. And ultimately is about control. That's what this is all about. There's no hater. It will to anyone that does like them. They're still better than TYT or CNN. Yeah, 1000%. I mean, Sam is our Sam is the zaddy, the zaddy. I don't care for the Vanguard. The Vanguard boys are pretty good. I mean, everyone has their own taste. I get that. We talked about the Senate parliamentarian, and we're getting close to seeing the Republican Party just outright fire the Senate parliamentarian. You know, the very same position that we were told was the arbiter, the gatekeeper that was not allowing for policies like raising the minimum wage, as an example, if I remember correctly. The Senate parliamentarian also, I think, didn't allow the student loan. I think the Senate parliamentarian also blocked the student loan forgiveness, if I remember correctly. You guys can fact check me on that. I'm pretty sure the Senate parliamentarian had a role in that. The Vanguard is good. Their chat frequently is not. Democrats caved. Yep. That's kind of where I'm going at with this. Because here we have the Republican Party essentially threatening to fire the parliamentarian for not playing ball.
The Senate parliamentarian is the one that gutted a lot of the provisions in the reconciliation bill that came from the House. She booted it out in the Senate. And frankly, I'm not sure some of your colleagues fought real hard to keep some of that stuff in, but you've said that she needs to go.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, she's not on our team. We're in the majority. And it just because they've been up here a while and they've made friends, that doesn't. Can you imagine
if Democrats had that same attitude when they were trying to do stuff? When they were trying to do stuff like student loan forgiveness. I'm pretty sure that she had to do something with this. Or maybe I got it wrong. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe the Senate parliamentarian blocked the Republican effort to gut some student loan stuff. Can somebody find what the Senate parliamentarian blocked during the Biden bill, the Build Back Better bill? Let's get wild in here and see how long ADT takes to figure out that we've lost it. That's okay. I've already accepted that that's the case. What did I ask? What did the Senate parliamentarian block from the big beautiful bill? I'm trying to get like an answer here, just to kind of. I mean, I guess I just want to know, like, just to be factually correct more than anything. I just want to know what the Senate parliamentarian blocked from the big beautiful, not the big beautiful bill, the Build Back Better. What is this? $15 pieces. No, this is what happened. This is what I found. I want what was struck from what was struck from the Build Back Better bill in Biden's term. That's what I wanted to know. Heat, how's it going? I hate these bill names. Yeah, we have the big beautiful bill, the Build Back Better bill. Anyways, the Senate parliamentarian blocked several provisions related to immigration reform from being included in the Build Back Better Act, specifically through attempts by Democrats to include pathways for citizenship or legal residency for certain groups of undocumented immigrants were rejected. These include proposals for pathway to citizenship for 8 million immigrants, a registry provision. Yeah, like here's a perfect example, right? This works. This works fine. This actually works just fine. Here's a perfect example. Like, can you imagine if the Democrats had the same attitude as this guy, as Tommy Tuberville, to say, like, you know what? Since the Senate parliamentarian is not playing ball here, we're going to fire the Senate parliamentarian. Can you imagine the uproar? But here, the Republicans can just say that, and there's no, like, nothing. Like, Democrats don't even try, is my point. And Republicans straight up say, like, oh, you don't want to play ball? Okay, well, screw the rules. We'll just fire the parliamentarian. My point being is that clearly one side is not playing by these rules, and the other side is just kind of capitulating or caving. Let's naturalize these people we are now persecuting instead collect taxes they pay. Yeah, exactly. This works right here. This is a perfect example, right? Imagine if the Democrats would have fought this hard to try to get a pathway to citizenship for immigrants. Imagine if they did that. Imagine if they said, you know what, screw the parliamentarian. They're not an elected official. What's that Samuel Jackson quote from the Avengers? I see the parliamentarian has made its decision, and granted that it's a stupid decision, I've elected to ignore it. And then boom, do it anyways. Jon Stewart and Mehdi discuss exactly this in the video I posted to the Discord. The only reason I'm not showing that video is because I think that's going to get like super copyrighted. Let me look at it again. I think it's from the actual like Jon Stewart podcast. I feel like that's going to get like super... Yeah, the weekly show. Oh wait, this is John's podcast. It might be okay. Do you know more or less around what time? What time stamp? Because if it's just his podcast, minute 51. If it's his podcast, maybe we can get away with it. And those taxes need to pay for healthcare, education, social infrastructure, and other social programs. Yeah, I mean, immigrants already pay a lot of taxes. Why not make them legal?
Doesn't play ball with me. I understand referees. I understand officials. I understand how things go when times get tough. Those things show up. Now, most of the time, probably there's a balance between Republican and Democrat when it comes to parliamentarian. But when they've got in the back of their mind that they really lean the other way, then you're going to have problems. And we saw that during the big, beautiful bill. So why in the world are we even talking about this? That this should have been done day one.
The Senate parliamentarian is the one that gutted a lot of the provisions.
Yeah, so, I mean, rules don't matter. Rules don't matter. Where is this? Oh, it's on videos. I should have known that. Minute 50 exactly, but give me a few more minutes. I'll give you the specific parliamentarian clip. Yeah, more or less. Like, it just, like, I can't play, like, too much of it. I don't know. I think this is just John's podcast, so it's not, like, the actual network, I think.
The idea that, for
not the network. Yeah, so this probably is okay as long as we do this here.
Maxwell Frost and Democrats who went to El Salvador, they were on the right side of that issue, and they did politically hurt Trump.
Yeah, I guess my point with that is you can politically hurt him. You can drive down his numbers, but nothing changes. You can, like you say, he can poll at 35% on immigration, but he doesn't give a fuck. He just goes out there and he continues to raid Home Depots. He's never been a particularly popular president. Probably the peak of his popularity was during that second inauguration, where there was even some level of like he might be above 50 or 51% in terms of he's always been a low 40s, sometimes dips into 30s guy. My point is, even with all that, there's nothing he hasn't been able to do that he wants to ultimately do. And the Democrats have not figured out a way how to effectively manage that. And that, I guess that was...
Or replicate it, John.
Or replicate it. That's right.
Democrats remain scared of their own shadows.
Right.
And in hop to their consultants. Well, Trump just does what he's got to do. And sometimes it works out for him, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, Kamala Harris, we know now from all the reporting of the election, she started off strong. She had a lead. She said some populist stuff. Right. She had a great convention.
And then thought, what if I hold hands with Liz Cheney and we just, we walk across the country.
Right. And not just that, but refusing to break from Biden's garbage policies and refusing to detach herself from that really hurt her. Because basically what the message was is that I'm not offering you nothing. I'm not offering you an alternative to the things that already people are mad about. And I'm not offering an alternative to the incoming fascism. Jon Stewart's much more progressive on his podcast and his TV show.
What if I hold hands with Liz Cheney?
Yeah,
what if I go
yes, 100%.
on The View and say nothing will change? There'll be no difference between me and Joe Biden. What if I listen to my brother-in-law from Uber and stop talking about big corporations and greedflation? Yeah, that worked out well.
Yeah. And I wonder too now, all the talk of I'm the peace candidate and I'm doing this. And as we watch the bombings in the Ukraine, the horrific tragedy that's happening in Gaza.
I think as long as what you're doing, you break it up and keep reacting, it's definitely fair use. Oh yeah, 100%. But I was just, I don't know. I just saw like the weekly show, and I for some reason I like equated it to the actual network's thing. But no, this is probably fine, honestly.
Council, a Geneva government about human.
It was
valuable. I can bomb up, and that's on the Republican side too. By the way, John, you're seeing Republicans under the age of 50
Right.
rapidly turning on Israel.
But the dynamic loss of national identity.
This idea of national identity, Christian national identity, one of them that a lot of people aren't paying enough attention to.
Mehdi, where do you see the energy, political identity is to litigate it? And in some ways, I think the news media has to take a lesson. Where is the one place
that as long
authoritative processing of all those avenues? And in some respects, then it comes down to, is the answer the Democratic Party's ripe for a takeover? And they just need to find the right reality host that can get in there and start lining up all of those interests.
Please, no reality host. I beg of you.
Jeff Probst, maybe Jeff Probst, Survivor.
unless John, you're thinking of throwing your hat in the ring, which I know many people want you to throw your hat in the ring. If that's what you're suggesting, we can talk about that. But please, otherwise, no TV show hosts.
None of those things. Well,
yeah, I kind of agree. Oh, wait.
Yes. And how that damaged the prospects of getting to the finish line, those policies.
But bigger than that, it will also be
minute 43.
To go back to your point about Wile E. Coyote, the Republican media machine is going to throw everything, already is, at mum.
Used for coercion.
By Musk standards.
That's right.
Why didn't Joe Biden do that? In fact, the opposite. Chuck Schumer hosted Elon Musk in his office in the Senate a couple of years ago.
Right.
This guy declared war on the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party said, "Would you like some more contracts, sir?" Right. That was an insane approach to Elon Musk. Trump showed that you can actually take on the richest man in the world if you're president of the United States. He did it. There is a template for it. Another example for Senate Democrats, when they said you can't put it in the bill. I was on MSNBC at the time. We did multiple segments about. He did it. There is a template for it. Another example for Senate Democrats.
Here we are.
When they were trying to get the minimum wage rise through, the parliamentarian said you can't put it in the bill. I was on MSNBC at the time. We did multiple.
Yeah, okay, that's what it is. The minimum wage. The minimum wage is another example. Remember those rallies for Reason and Fear? Yep.
Segments about the freaking parliamentarian. No one knows who she is. She wasn't elected by anyone. Chuck Schumer said, can't do it. Parliamentarian said no. This time around, the parliamentarian said, well, you can't do some stuff in this big, beautiful bill. The Republicans said, get lost. They wouldn't even meet with the parliamentarian. Right. So the template is there. If you want to get shit done, you can. The problem is Democrats don't want to get shit done, and they hide behind institutional excuses. They say we can't do it because of parliamentarian. But really, they don't want to.
No, that's interesting, though, because that says something different.
Right, because what else is the excuse here? I mean, I just played you a clip where this guy, Tuberville, is like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to fire her if she keeps, like, not playing ball. Like, you know? It's right here.
In the reconciliation bill that came, she booted it out in the Senate. And frankly, I'm not sure some of your colleagues fought real hard to keep some of that stuff in, but you've said that...
Here, the Republican commentator is holding the Republican Party accountable and saying, hey, you got to do this stuff. Screw the parliamentarian. Like, what are you talking about? You're the elected officials. And the difference here is that the Republican Congress senator... is like, yeah, dude, sure, we got to fire her. You're right. She's not playing ball, so we got to fire her. Versus the Democrats are like, well, sorry, I guess we can't do it because, you know, the rules say so. And it's like, well, I mean, the Republicans are showing that doesn't really matter at all. And I don't know. It sounds like you just don't want to. As much, you don't want to do stuff as bad as these guys want to do stuff. And the problem is, when these guys do stuff, it's horrific. When Republicans actually put the the pedal to the metal and start doing stuff, it's horrific.
In your mind, they don't actually want, because my feeling is...
Let's not make sweeping statements. Some do,
right,
and some are beholden to their donors.
But this is where we get into the, like, Merrick Garland is at fault, or the way that Democrats govern. Still, as much as the ACA got some more people some health insurance, it never addressed the rot at the basis of our healthcare system that allowed these insurance companies to make. So basically what the Democrats said was, we understand that one of the greatest threats to liberty and freedom in this country is poverty and not having healthcare, and it limits your choices and you can't leave jobs and all these other things. But instead of dealing with that, here's what we think we can do. Convince insurance companies that if we guarantee you billions of dollars and a fire hose of money, that you'll pretend to offer people a good alternative.
Not just insurance companies. The plan was to win over Republicans, right? Barack Obama was bent on winning over Republicans.
Right.
And that's why he borrowed a Mitt Romney plan. Obamacare was fundamentally a version of Romney Care in Massachusetts.
Right.
And he thought this will win over moderate Republicans. Instead, they spent the next 10 years obsessing over Obamacare. It became a dirty...
Right, and like they like literally wanted to repeal it anyways. They wouldn't support... It was a Republican-based plan. It was a conservative-based plan. But they still didn't support it. And they told Obama to get lost, as he puts it. And until this day, they tried to repeal it. Till this day, they're still trying to fight it, even though it was a Republican project to begin with. It's a project that was birthed out of from insurance companies, anyways. Wild. It's the same across the pond. Yep. But anyways, that was. Thank you for pointing out which timestamp here. This is perfect addition to the difference. The difference, as you mentioned, the different approaches to politics. I mean, like, it is night and day. As Tropical Ding Dong puts it, night and day. You literally have this guy going, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like, the parliamentarian is like, "Who is she? Why are you letting her stop? Like, people want this. And he's going, yeah. No, you're right. We gotta fire her. Immediate response. Can you imagine if the Democrats had that same energy when their voters asked for stuff like making sure that people have a living wage, but they're like, the parliamentarian said no. Well, then do something about it, man. Can you imagine if they had that same energy when the parliamentarian said no to making sure that there's a pathway to citizenship? With incidentally, can you imagine? Like, let's imagine an alternate universe where the Democrats had that same energy and actually got citizenship for these undocumented people. Huh. Especially given like the context of what's happening now. Can you imagine if the Democrats fought that hard to giving a path to citizenship and to giving legal status for undocumented people? Butters versus Cartman, who win? Yeah, it's basically that's it, right? Cartman, the Republican, MAGA, and Butters, the Democratic Party. Literally, right? Democrats, and more specifically, always had an excuse for why Democrats are incapable of acting. Right, and it's like, clearly we're seeing the opposite, right? So that no longer holds water, right? You can't, like, that excuse doesn't work anymore. It's just like, hello, these guys are not playing by the rules. They don't care. They just want to get stuff done. So why can't you? And again, the difference is when these people get stuff done, it is horrible for everybody. Like the outcome of a real Democratic president or Congress that actually wanted to do stuff and say like, we're going to say like, screw the parliamentarian. The outcome of that is what? Raising the minimum wage? The outcome of that is what? Legal status for tens of millions of people? Like 8 million people? The outcome of that may be healthcare? Violet Quinlaw, welcome. Yeah, maybe Professor Chaos is like I don't know, like the Bernie Sanders version. But no, unfortunately, we get the Butters version. Biden's answer to the border was more right-wing than Trump during the election. Well, I mean, it was... I don't know if it was more right-wing, but it was definitely attempting to try to capture that right-wing hysteria over brown people. And it didn't work because... It didn't work because, like, why would a Republican... Why would these rabid xenophobes go like, oh, I don't want, like, why would I vote for Biden, or why would I want Biden's plan, regardless if it was, you know, something that they would actually want over Trump, when I can just have like the Trump one, right? Like, there's no reason, and Democrats have no reason to want to be like, why are you doing Republican stuff? I don't want this crap. We talked about Biden's proposal, right? Like the Democratic proposal. I don't know if it was Biden's, but the Democratic Party's proposal for immigration. And then they tried to use that as some kind of gotcha to say Trump's weak on the border for not accepting that. Like, racing to the bottom here. Biden tried to hand Republicans the most right-wing border of all time, but the reality that the people that are going to vote Democrats don't want those policies. Yeah. Okay, so it was Biden's. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, we don't want those policies. Presumably, Democratic voters don't want those policies, and Republicans don't want, like, I don't know, racism light. You know what I mean? Or perceived racism light. Because they would rather have it come from Daddy Trump. I'm just me. Welcome, Democrats. Would you like some polite second place racism? Yeah, racism light. He tried to appeal to the right rather than his own base. What a fool! Exactly. And that is part of what kind of led to all this disaster. To be honest. Anyways, the point being is that clearly. The excuse that they can't do stuff doesn't hold any water. Any Democrat that tells you that, oh, we just can't do stuff because of the parliamentarian, like, that's just nonsense. Nonsense. Either if you want to get stuff done, then get stuff done, or get out of the way and let people elect someone who will. Sorbet racism. If you don't want to act, like the Republican, if you don't want to have that kind of energy to try to get stuff done for good, trying to help people get healthcare, try to alleviate student loans, trying to make affordable housing, then make way and let someone else take over. Jeez. That was one big thunder. I'd love some gelato. Democrats are trying to sell the frozen custard of racism. Yeah, a snow cone. Anyways. Thank you for tying all that together, Tropical Ding Dong, to kind of put a nice little juxtaposition there, that's side by side. I think we're going to do 2 more stories. Trump blasts Republican Senator Hawley over a stock trade ban. So just to be clear, let me be very clear. Josh Hawley is not some kind of populist. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as right-wing populist. That doesn't exist. Josh Hawley does not care about the working class. He voted for Trump's massive tax cuts and gutting of Medicaid. So he is not. There's no such thing as a Republican populist. That's not a thing. He's just a fascist. I'm gonna start dropping producer notes for you in the Discord. Republican Senator Josh Hawley engaged in a fiery debate with members of his own party, joining Democrats on Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee on Wednesday to advance a bill that would ban members of Congress or their spouses from trading or holding individual stocks. Later, President Trump blasted Hawley for the move, calling him a pawn. This is how you know, like, this kind of like right-wing populism is like a farce, because Trump also purported himself as some kind of populist too, some kind of working class man. So you would think that as someone who cares about transparency and making sure that Congress is working for the people, you would want something like this. Just to be clear, a ban on stock trading is a good thing. Like, objectively speaking, this is a good idea. There should be no reason as to why members of Congress should have any dealings with regards to the stock market at all. The bill, called the Honest Act, which stands for Halting Ownership of Non-Ethical Security and Trust, was recently modified so the ban on insider trading included president and the vice president, which I guess that's what kind of miffed Donald Trump there. That provision wouldn't go into effect until after Trump and president leave office, however. There it is. There's the Hawley we know. There's the Josh Hawley we know. Hawley voted with Democrats to pass the bill through committee by a vote of 8-7. Now it's up to Senate Majority Leader John Thune to decide whether to bring this bill to the floor. They made Jimmy Carter sell his peanut farm. Right. Because their laws can directly affect the market. Yep. Hawley led the charge to advance this legislation, but was met with pushback from members of his own party who said some of the bill provisions were disincentivized business owners for running for office. Who cares? Who cares? Several Republicans also claimed Hawley was attacking them for their wealth. And? Problem? If you feel attacked... If you feel attacked by a bill that would ban insider trading, that would ban ownership of stocks, and well, you're attacking me because I'm wealthy. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. You shouldn't be. The implication is here, it kind of gives the Republicans here kind of give themselves away, right? Because the implication is, oh, this is me. I'm doing this. I'm making money off this. So why are you doing this? I agree. Most of the people that can fight back on Trump won't, because most are too old and only care about naps. Disincentivize business owners from running. Hawley only votes for doom bills. Oh, 100%. Just to be clear, Josh Hawley is not our friend. Josh Hawley is not our friend. Boomers are getting really old and they all support Trump in high numbers as his last time, but you gotta watch the Gen Xers now. Yep. If you're wealthy via insider trading, which is illegal here, it's the same as being a bank robber. Yeah, and the Republicans that are complaining about this bill are basically giving themselves away by saying, like, wait a minute, you're attacking me because I'm rich. Yeah, because you're making money off the stock market while you're in office, dude. What are you talking about? Like, they gave themselves away with this right here. This is it. Hawley said when he was elected, he sold his trusts and assets in an effort to practice what I preach. Yeah, whatever, dude. I don't have individual stocks. I don't trade in stocks. I'm not a billionaire unlike some others in this committee, and I think the American people are sending us a clear message. Later, Republican Senators Rick Scott, one of the chamber's wealthiest members, went back at Hawley for those comments. I don't know how many people, again, like Rick Scott is an incredible ghoul. I don't know how many people in the audience, how many you don't want to make money. Anybody want to be poor, said Scott. Yeah. Hey, Josh Hawley over here is proposing that he cut off the gravy train. As members of Congress, we are entitled to make money off the stock market. To be clear, members of Congress make six figures without anything. Okay, never mind book deals, never mind speaking fees, never mind the fact that the government does handle a lot of the costs. But on top of that, members of Congress make six figures. Okay? You want to talk about, anybody want to be poor? You just want to make six figures, you poors? You want to be poors? Like the rest of the plebs? Like the rest of the plebs? Tuh. That's actually a wild reaction here. Rick Scott needs to be investigated for insider trading, 100%. So this idea that we're going to attack people because they make money is wrong. It's absolutely wrong. Oh, man. Yep. We should cherish all our different backgrounds. Each one of us has a different background. Okay, but what does that have to do with you making money by being a senator? Because, he's basically admitting it, right? He's basically saying, like, look, this is how we make our money. Why are you taking away the gravy train, man? Many Democrats said they're united behind the bill, with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer saying, we will win. No, hold on. Excuse me. We're for a stock trading ban. Hawley, Republican firebrand, a fascist, was in a rare position of receiving Democratic support, with Richard Blumenthal saying thanks to Senator Hawley for his campaigning this cause. Hawley claimed in a statement that he wanted to find out where the members stand on the issue. Members of Congress should focus on delivering results for their constituents, not return on investments, which incidentally all these Republicans are very miffed about. That it's time we restore Congress and ban all members from trading and holding stocks. Again, Josh Hawley is not our friend here, and the sincerity of how how far he would actually want this to go remains to be seen. But the point is, it's true, and clearly the Republican response demonstrates that they do engage in this behavior. They are making money from insider trading. It's clear by that reaction. Now, won't somebody think of the billionaires? They each come from a different investment bank. Yeah, different backgrounds. There you go. A number of Republican senators said in recent days they were supportive of Hawley's efforts to push the stock trading ban. Senator Roger Marshall said on Tuesday before the vote that he very much supported the ban on stock trading. Certainly, I think as a member of Congress, we do sometimes have insider information that we may know something before the stock markets move. It's not fair to the rest of the Americans. I do think it's abused up here. Yeah, no, duh. It's clear. It's very clear. And this is an admission of this, right? And of course, Trump decided to weigh in here. Trump called Hawley a pawn and second-tier senator, adding that the GOP lawmakers playing right into the dirty hands of the Democrats. Okay, over the senator's support for the bill. Hawley said he has not spoken to Trump since the president's post on True Social bashing the bill, but he said hopes to get the legislation to a place that Trump supports it, meaning that he would be exempt from it. I mean, I want to get him to a place where he supports this, because if he doesn't, it's just not going to go anywhere. If he says, I'm going to veto this, then that'll be it. So I don't want that. So in other words, none of this is going to happen. Just to be clear. If that is the parameters, then none of this is going to happen, because Trump's not going to sign off on that, because he also doesn't want that gravy train stopping. Earlier in the day, asked about the Honest Act during a bill signing Wednesday, Trump said he didn't know much about it, but apparently knew enough to call him a second-tier senator who is playing into the dirty hands of the Democrats. So he doesn't know enough about it, but also this is terrible. Stop playing into the Democrats' hands. Gotcha. But I like it conceptually. Trump said, "Yeah, okay, dude. Yeah, sure, bud. Sure." Trump administration is launching a new private health tracking system with big tech's help. This is about as dystopian as it gets, and I think people really need to pay attention to this because the amount of data that is about to be, if this really does launch and get off the ground, the amount of data that the amount of people's data that is going to be in the hands of not just private companies but of the government is going to be an uncomfortable amount, if I want to put it lightly. The Trump administration announced that it's launching a new program that will allow Americans to share personal health data and medical records across health systems and apps run by private tech companies, promising that it will make it easier to access health records and monitor wellness. Sure. Maybe you can write a picture about the concept. More than 60 companies, including major tech companies like Google, Amazon, and Apple, nice, as well as healthcare giants like United Health Group, CVS, have all agreed to share patient data in the system. The initiative will focus on diabetes and weight management, conversational artificial intelligence that helps track patients, and digital tools such as QR codes and apps that register patients for check-ins or track medication. For decades, Americans' health networks have been overdue for a high-tech upgrade, said President Trump during an event with company CEOs at the White House. I mean, like, let's be honest. This is a fire sale on people's data, and this is a huge handout to these companies. The existing systems are often slow and incompatible with one another, but with today's announcement, we take a major step to bring healthcare into the digital age. Never mind just trying to make sure that everybody has access to healthcare. This is what you get instead. Big Brother. RFK Jr. sneaks into your bedroom while sleeping and injects beef tallow into your veins. The system, spearheaded by an administration that has already freely shared personal data about Americans in ways that have tested legal bounds, could put patients' desire for more convenience at their doctor's office on a collision course with expectations that their medical information be kept private. There are enormous ethical and legal concerns. That's one way of putting it. Lawrence Gostin, a Georgetown University law professor who specializes in public health, patients across America should be very worried that their medical records are going to be used in ways that harm them and their families. 1000%. Like, capitalism really does ruin everything, folks. Ultimately, that's what this is about. Officials at the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, who will be in charge of maintaining the system, have said patients will need to opt in for sharing their medical records and data, which will be kept secure. Yeah, I'm sure. You know, I can really trust this administration with that. Yeah. Those officials said patients will benefit from a system that lets them quickly call up their own records without hallmark difficulties, such as requiring use of fax machines to share documents that prevented them from doing so in the past. We're going to have remarkable advances in how consumers can use their own records, said Dr. Oz. How consumers, imagine, like, we're talking about healthcare, just to be clear, right? Who leads the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, said during the White House event, Popular weight loss and fitness subscriptions service Noom, which has signed on to the initiative, will be able to pull medical records after a system is expected launch next year. That might include labs or medical tests. The app could use to develop an AI-driven analysis of what might help users lose weight. CEO Geoff Cook told the AP. Apps and health systems will also have access to competitors' information too. Noom would be able to access a person's data from Apple Health, for example. Oh man. Stearic acid, it's for leatherwork, but it's basically tallow. Gotcha. Yeah, you can use tallow for leatherwork. Yep. I think I have. It's also good for your skin too, if I'm correct. If I'm correct, that's how people used to. That's old school skincare, I believe. Old school skincare is just beef tallow. If I'm remembering correctly, there's some kind of tallow, right? Am I right? Patients who travel across the country for treatment at Cleveland Clinic often have a hard time obtaining all their medical records from various providers, said the hospital system CEO, Dr. Tomislav Milavec. He said the new system will eliminate that barrier, which sometimes delays treatment or prevents doctors from making an accurate diagnosis because they don't have the full view of the patient's medical history. As opposed to making sure that people don't get access to healthcare in the first place. If they don't sell it from a bottle in Sephora for at least $100, it ain't skincare. These apps give us insight about what's happening to the patient's health outside the physician's office. Okay. CMS will also recommend a list of apps on Medicare.gov that are designed to help people manage chronic disease, as well as help them select healthcare providers and insurance plans. Digital privacy advocates are skeptical that patients will be able to count their data being stored securely, no, probably not, to be honest. The federal government, however, has done little to regulate health apps or telehealth programs, said Jeffrey Chester for the Center of Digital Democracy. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy and those within the circle have pushed for more technology in healthcare, advocating for wearable devices that monitor wellness and telehealth. No thanks. No thanks. Kennedy also sought to collect more data from Americans' medical records, which has previously said he wants to study autism and vaccine safety. Yeah. We've gone over that. No. Kennedy has filled the agency with staffers who have a history of working at or running healthcare technology startups and businesses. CMS has already had troves of information on more than 140 million Americans who enroll in Medicare and Medicaid. Earlier this month, the federal agency agreed to hand over its massive database, including home addresses, to deportation officials. So, yeah. We can see where this is going. Nadia, welcome. The point is to go after women who get abortions and trans people, 100%. And autistic people. Yep. 100%. They like their lists, The new initiative would deepen the pool of information on patients for the federal government and tech companies. Medical records typically contain far more sensitive information, such as doctor notes about conversations with patients and substance abuse or mental health history. Yeah. The scheme is an open door for further use of monetization of sensitive and personal health information. Yep. The Trump administration tried to launch a less ambitious electronic record program in 2018 that did not get finalized during his first term, but it did not have buy-in from major tech companies at the time. Yep. Dystopic stuff, folks. Really dystopic stuff. I think this is not getting enough attention, honestly. The ramifications of this are huge. I think plastic is why human reaction speeds and fertility rates have been falling so fast. I mean, the microplastics definitely have. This is very provable or known or studied, I should say. the effects of microplastics, yeah, they 100%. They are everywhere, folks. Kind of like lead back in the day, but worse. The ramifications were laid out by Edwin Black in the IBM and the Holocaust. Australia did a similar thing, collecting up all health data. It was hacked within months. Yep. That's right, Nadia. The people making lists and collecting this amount of information when they don't need it has never been the good guys. Have never been the good guys. At best, it is only a matter of time before there's like a massive data hack and all this sensitive information is out there. At worst, this is how lists get built. All right, folks. Time for me to get out of here. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you for your support. You guys are what makes this channel go. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hasser, for modding the chat. It's time for me to go. Thank you all. We'll be back on Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Folks, join the Discord. There is a movie event. There's actually a couple movie events going on. So feel free to hop in there and check that out. If you want to support the channel directly, check out the merch store. Do the ! tip. Substack. All the stuff. Check out my show on this space, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. If you're on the YouTube, this space is live right now. Have a good one. Sorry I've been online as much recently. No, it's all good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Nos vamos. Thank you, Michael Hassler. Appreciate it. Thank you, Heat. Watching They Live on Saturday. I don't think I've seen this. So I'm pretty down. Thank you, Kirkenstein's Monster. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ladybug. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mayhem Hippie. Thank you, John Lithium, Moanep, Kirkenstein's Monster, Nadia. Appreciate all of you. I'm just me. Thank you all. Long as it's super woke. Yep. That's all. We only do super woke stuff here. Have a good one. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, folks. Time for me to get out of here. Thank y'all. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one, Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. All right, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.